Aaron had never imagined that joining Viren Industries would change his life so quickly. He had grown up on Earth, a quiet planet filled with bustling cities and simple routines. And he thought a job in an alien corporation would be just another engineering role. He had expected to fix machines, calibrate systems, and go home without much thought. Yet here he was, standing in the glowing control room of Virion Station, looking up at his new boss, Commander Rhea. Rhea was unlike anyone he had ever met. She was a Seraphine, a race known for their tall, elegant frames and calm, almost ethereal presence. Her skin had a faint shimmer, pale silver with streaks of violet under the station lights. Her eyes were large, golden, and reflective, showing more than just sight, they reflected emotion. She had recently become a widow. Her partner, a fellow Seraphine leader, had been lost during a distant frontier mission, leaving her alone in a position of responsibility that spanned hundreds of workers across multiple planets. Aaron admired her professionalism, but he also sensed the quiet weight she carried. It wasn't just leadership. It was grief, carefully controlled, rarely spoken aloud. Despite the many humans and aliens working under her command, she often chose to spend her time with him, signing overtime after the official hours. At first, Aaron thought it was punishment. He had stayed late on his first week, fixing drone malfunctions, recalibrating sensors, and updating the station's power grids while others went home. Every night, Commander Rhea would check his work and nod in approval. Then, she would assign another task. "You have good instincts," she had said the first night, her voice calm but distant. "You notice what others miss. That is why you are here." Aaron had smiled politely, unsure whether to be proud or overwhelmed. He stayed late, watching the stars outside the tall observation windows, imagining the planets and systems they orbited. He had never felt so small, yet so connected. It was during one of these late nights that Aaron began to notice something else. Rhea was not simply giving him work to keep the station running. She was giving him company. She had started lingering nearby, observing his methods, offering advice in quiet tones, asking questions about Earth life. "You humans have strange ways of celebrating accomplishments," she had said one night. Leaning over a console to watch him repair a damaged sensor. "On Earth, do you rest after work, or do you continue until the day ends?" "We usually rest," Aaron replied. "But sometimes if the work is important, we stay late. Some people enjoy the challenge." Rhea tilted her head, considering him. "I see. Challenge. It keeps the mind active, and perhaps it keeps the heart away from loneliness." The words struck Aaron. For a moment, he realized that Rhea was speaking about herself. The great commander, who managed an entire station and multiple teams of engineers, pilots and administrators, was also human in her need for companionship. Even if she did not admit it openly, from that night on, the overtime no longer felt like a burden. Aaron began to understand that he was part of something larger than his tasks. He was part of the healing process for someone who had lost much, and though he did not fully understand her culture, he sensed a bond forming quietly between them, like a faint thread connecting to different worlds. The next few weeks were a blur of activity. Aaron spent long hours maintaining drones, checking the power grids, and ensuring the life support systems were flawless. Sometimes he worked with human colleagues, sometimes with Seraphine technicians, but often he was alone with Rhea. She would sit nearby, reviewing reports or making calculations, her presence steady and calm. Occasionally, she would speak softly about her late partner, about how they had built this station together, or about missions on other planets that had gone wrong. Aaron listened, offering small reassurances when he could. "It sounds like you did everything you could," he would say. "Sometimes that is enough." Rhea would nod, a faint smile touching her lips. "It is, yet. Grief has a way of lingering, even when one does everything right." One night, while working on the sensor array near the observation deck, a sudden alert flashed on the control panel. A minor power surge threatened the drone maintenance bay. Alarms sounded, red and orange lights flashing across the room. Aaron froze for a moment, then acted quickly. He accessed the control terminal and rerouted the energy flows manually. Sparks flew, and the hum of the station grew louder. But he managed to stabilize the system. Rhea was there beside him, her hands hovering over the console, ready to assist. "Careful," she said softly. "The energy spike can be dangerous." "I've got it," Aaron replied, his voice steady despite the rush of adrenaline. When the surge ended, both of them stood in silence for a moment, breathing heavily. Rhea's eyes, usually composed, showed relief. "You saved the bay," she said quietly. "And perhaps something else." Aaron looked at her, uncertain what she meant. She did not elaborate, only returned to her seat and began reviewing data again. That night, as he walked to his quarters, he realized the connection between them had deepened. It was no longer just about work or overtime. It was about trust, about being present for someone who had lost so much. Over the following weeks, Rhea continued assigning overtime, but the tasks became more collaborative. They discussed repairs, analyzed station data together, and even debated small improvements to the life support systems. Aaron learned more about Seraphine culture, about their sense of honor, and about the silent rituals they performed to honor lost loved ones. Rhea shared stories sparingly, but each one offered a glimpse into her personal life, a life full of love, loss, and dedication. Despite the long hours, Aaron did not feel tired. In fact, he looked forward to the evenings when he and Rhea were alone in the control room, surrounded by glowing consoles and the quiet hum of machines. Sometimes they would simply sit and watch the stars, pointing out constellations and planets from their respective homeworlds. "You humans have small planets," Rhea said one evening, gesturing to a distant blue sphere. "Yet your imagination stretches far beyond them." Aaron smiled. "Perhaps that is why we dream so much. There is always something beyond what we can see." Yeah. Rhea nodded, thoughtful. "Perhaps, and perhaps it is why some bonds, though unexpected, can grow even in the cold of space." Aaron did not fully understand her words, but he felt their meaning. The station, with all its blinking lights and humming machinery, felt warmer when she was near. He began to anticipate her presence, the calm assurance of her voice, and the small moments of connection that no other person on the station could offer. One evening, after a particularly long shift, Rhea handed him a small cup of TA rare beverage on the station. "Drink," she said simply. "It is not much, but it warms the body and the mind." Aaron accepted it gratefully. The tea was strong and slightly bitter, but comforting. He took a sip and looked at her. "Thank you," he said, "for everything. For trusting me, for being here." Rhea smiled faintly. "You have done well, Aaron. More than well. You have reminded me that even in loss, presence matters." Aaron nodded, understanding her fully for the first time. The overtime, the long nights, the endless repairs, they were not burdens. They were opportunities. Opportunities to connect, to support, and to remind someone that they were not alone. Even in the vast emptiness of space, that night, as he finally walked to his quarters, Aaron felt a new sense of purpose. He was no longer just a human worker on an alien station. He was a companion, a witness, and perhaps, in some small way, a healer. And for the first time since joining Virion Industries, he looked forward to the challenges ahead, not because they were required, but because they offered him a chance to be by Rhea's side, silently sharing the endless workdays and the quiet moments that followed. He knew that whatever lay ahead, tasks, dangers, or unforeseen events, he would not face them alone. And for someone who had once believed overtime was punishment, that was the greatest reward of all. The days at Virion Station began to blend together for Aaron, each one filled with tasks, maintenance checks, and the soft hum of machines. But the nights were different. The night shifts, when the station was mostly empty, offered a quiet that Aaron had never experienced anywhere on Earth. The lights of distant planets and stars cast pale reflections across the tall observation windows, and Commander Rhea would often be there, reviewing reports or monitoring energy grids. Aaron had begun to notice small details about her. The way she pressed her hands together when she was thinking, the faint shimmer that ran along her arms when she leaned close to a console. the way her golden eyes softened when she watched the stars. It was subtle, but he saw it, and it made him feel that she was less a commander and more a person who had endured too much, quietly bearing the weight of loss. One evening, a sudden alarm disrupted the calm. The station's reactor had shown unusual fluctuations in power. Aaron and Rhea both rushed to the control room side by side. The panels flickered, showing spikes and warnings. Aaron's hands moved quickly over the console, following protocols, rerouting energy flows, while Rhea gave precise instructions, her voice calm but firm. "We need to stabilize the left core," she said. "If it fails, it could affect the entire upper level." Aaron nodded. "I'll handle the manual override. You cover the diagnostics." Working together felt natural. Their movements synchronized without words. Aaron rerouted the core's energy while Rhea monitored feedback lines, calling out adjustments. Sparks flickered across the control panels, and the hum of the station grew louder as the reactor stabilized. When the alarms finally stopped, both of them leaned back, breathing heavily. "You did well," Rhea said softly, her voice carrying relief. "Many could have panicked." "You stayed calm?" Aaron looked at her, feeling a small swell of pride. "We did it together." Rhea studied him for a moment, and then turned to the window, looking at the stars. "It is strange," she said, almost to herself, "how small beings can make a difference in a system so vast. Perhaps it is the same with relationships. Even small presence matters." Aaron didn't reply immediately. He only followed her gaze, seeing the endless stars and planets that seemed so far away. Then he said quietly, "I think being here now matters more than anything. We can't change the distance, but we can support each other." For the first time, Rhea smiled fully. It was brief, but genuine, and Aaron felt the warmth of it. Over the next few days, their bond deepened. Rhea began to share small stories about her late partner. She spoke of missions in uncharted sectors, of delicate negotiations with distant colonies, and of quiet evenings spent in the observation deck, watching the stars together. Aaron listened, offering what small comfort he could. "You remind me of someone," Rhea said one evening. "Someone who would take the time to notice details others miss. He valued every quiet moment, even the work itself." Aaron felt honored but also aware of the weight behind her words. He understood that her trust was fragile. She had experienced loss and had learned to guard her heart. Yet here she was, letting him glimpse a part of her past. One night, Rhea asked Aaron to join her in the engineering bay, a place usually restricted to senior personnel. A series of diagnostic failures had affected several drones, and she needed his human perspective. "Humans often see patterns differently," she explained. "Your approach might reveal a flaw we Seraphine overlook." Aaron smiled. "I'll do my best." As they worked side by side, Aaron noticed something unusual. Rhea would glance at him from time to time, her eyes soft, almost as if she was measuring his reactions. She asked questions about Earth's technology and social systems, about teamwork, and even about the little habits humans had when under stress. Aaron answered patiently, explaining why humans often preferred collaboration over strict hierarchy, and why sometimes mistakes led to new solutions. By the end of the night, all the drones were functional again. Rhea leaned back, stretching slightly, and let out a soft sigh. "You have a way of seeing what others miss," she said. "It is reassuring." Aaron hesitated before asking, "Do you ever get tired of being alone, Commander?" She froze for a moment, then nodded slowly. "Sometimes, the station is filled with people, yet loneliness can still grow. I keep busy, I focus on work, but quiet moments make it more noticeable." Aaron did not respond immediately. Instead, he simply said, "Then maybe it is good to have company, even if just for a moment." Rhea's lips curved into a faint smile, and for the first time, she did not look away. Perhaps, the nights continued, filled with work, discussion, and occasional shared meals in the station's small cafeteria. Aaron learned more about Rhea's culture, and she seemed to take comfort in his presence. They shared stories about Earth and Seraphine history, about what it was like to live on their respective planets, and about the fears and hopes that drove them. Each conversation brought them closer, and the station no longer felt like a cold, mechanical place. It had warmth, laughter, and connection, even in the silent hum of late-night machinery. One evening, after a long day, Rhea invited Aaron to the observation deck. The room was usually reserved for high-level meetings, but tonight it was quiet. The stars stretched endlessly, pale blues and deep violets flickering in the distance. Rhea stood silently, looking out at the expanse, while Aaron joined her. "Unsure what to say, you humans often see only the surface," Rhea said quietly. "You look at the sky, at stars, at planets, and yet you imagine life among them. You stretch your thoughts beyond what is known." Aaron nodded. "I guess we dream a lot. Maybe it is what keeps us moving forward, even when things are hard." She glanced at him, golden eyes reflecting starlight. "Dreaming. And presence? Both matter. Your presence reminds me that, even though I have lost much, I am not alone." Aaron felt a warmth in his chest. He realized that their bond had grown beyond professional respect. It was trust, comfort, and subtle understanding. He had never imagined that a human could connect so deeply with a Seraphine commander. Yet here he was, sharing silent nights and quiet victories. In the following days, Aaron noticed subtle changes in Rhea. She began seeking him out for consultation more often. She would walk alongside him as he checked the maintenance systems or stood close when he analyzed station reports. She asked for his opinion not only about technology, but about the well-being of the crew. Aaron offered suggestions, sometimes small, sometimes significant, and she always listened with careful consideration. It became clear that the overtime assignments were not just about work, they were a way for her to spend time with someone who understood her. Even without words, Aaron realized he was no longer just a worker. He was a presence that mattered to Rhea, someone who offered stability and quiet companionship amidst the endless responsibilities of the station. One particularly quiet night, while monitoring the life support systems, Aaron spoke up. "Commander, do you ever miss having someone to share these quiet moments with?" Rhea paused, her hands resting on the console. "I do," she admitted. "I have focused on work, on duty, on responsibility. It is safer than facing the void of loss. Yet, there is value in connection, in sharing small moments with someone trustworthy." Aaron smiled softly. "Then maybe those long nights were meant for that. Not just for work, but for being here together." Rhea looked at him, and for a long moment said nothing. Then she nodded, the faintest of smiles crossing her face. Perhaps it was always meant to be this way." The rest of the night passed quietly. They completed their checks, recorded the data, and finally left the engineering bay. Walking through the station corridors, Aaron felt a sense of purpose he had never known before. He was no longer just a human engineer on an alien station. He was someone who could make a difference not only through work but through presence, through trust, and through quiet companionship. And for Commander Rhea, Aaron was slowly becoming a reminder that even in the vast silence of space, connection could exist. That presence mattered more than perfection, more than duty, and more than endless tasks. As Aaron returned to his quarters that night, he felt something he had never felt before. He looked forward to tomorrow, to more work, more nights with Rhea, and to the quiet moments between stars that made the endless station feel alive. He realized that sometimes the most important work was not repairing machines or stabilizing systems, it was being present for someone who had lost so much. And in that quiet understanding, Aaron knew he had begun a journey far beyond engineering. He had begun a journey into trust, companionship, and the subtle, quiet beauty of being there for another, even in the cold, endless reaches of space. The days at Virion Station had become routine in some ways, yet unpredictable in others. Aaron continued his tasks as a systems engineer, repairing drones, checking energy grids, and ensuring the station's operations ran smoothly. Yet now, these tasks were no longer just work. They were moments shared with Commander Rhea, moments of silent understanding and growing trust. One morning, Rhea approached Aaron in the engineering bay. Her usual calm demeanor was intact, but there was a seriousness in her expression. "Aaron," she began, "I need you to accompany me to a restricted area of the station. It is not typical for humans to enter, but I trust your judgment." Aaron raised an eyebrow. "Restricted area?" "Of course, Commander. Where are we going?" She paused before speaking. "The Memory Vault." The name alone intrigued him. Aaron had heard whispers of it among the Seraphine staff, but no human had ever entered. The Memory Vault, as he had gathered, was a place where the Seraphines stored echoes of their lost loved ones. It was sacred, private, powerful. Aaron followed her through a series of narrow corridors and airlocks, the walls glowing softly with the station's ambient light. Finally, they reached a tall, reinforced door. Rhea placed her hand on a golden panel which responded to her touch and slid open silently. Inside, the room was bathed in pale blue light. Crystalline structures floated along the walls, pulsing gently, as if breathing. Each crystal contained a faint shimmer of energy echoes of lives once lived. Aaron's eyes widened. The room was silent except for a soft hum that seemed alive. "This is the Memory Vault," Rhea explained. "Each crystal holds the essence of a Seraphine's loved one. It is not just memory, it is presence, preserved through energy resonance. These are not mere holograms. They are fragments of life, captured to honor those who are gone." Aaron walked slowly among the crystals, careful not to touch them. "It feels alive," he said quietly. "It is beautiful." Rhea nodded, her gaze lingering on a tall crystal at the center of the room. "This one belongs to my late partner. I keep it safe here, protected from decay and energy fluctuations. It is the closest connection I have to the one I loved most." Aaron felt a lump in his throat. He had never seen someone hold on to memory so tangibly, so respectfully. In his world, grief was expressed in stories or photographs, never in living energy preserved in crystals. "I need your help," Rhea continued. "The station's sensors have detected a power surge in the vault's containment fields. If the surge is not corrected, the energy could destabilize the crystals. Many lives, memories, and connections could be lost." Aaron's heart quickened. "I'll help. Tell me what to do." Together, they worked through the intricate systems controlling the vault. Aaron recalibrated the energy conduits while Rhea managed the resonance stabilizers. The hum of the room grew louder as the surge worsened, the crystals flickering with unstable light. Aaron focused, following Rhea's precise instructions, trusting her judgment completely. "You need to reroute the secondary field through the tertiary conduit," Rhea instructed. "It will stabilize the resonance for a moment, but you must act quickly to lock it." Aaron nodded, his fingers flying over the control interface. Sweat gathered on his brow. Sparks of blue energy arced across a panel, but he managed to lock the conduit. The crystals steadied, their light returning to a gentle glow. They stood in silence for a moment, breathing heavily. Rhea's golden eyes reflected relief and a faint vulnerability. "You have saved them," she said softly. "All of them. You acted swiftly and without hesitation. That is more than many could do." Aaron felt a warm pride. It was teamwork. "We did it together." Rhea looked at him, her expression softening further. "Yes, together. You remind me of the qualities my partner had. Courage, calm, and the ability to act, even when the stakes are high." Aaron felt a quiet honor. Her words were not given lightly. The commander of a massive station, a Seraphine, who had lived for centuries, was comparing him to someone she had loved deeply. After a long moment, Rhea spoke again, her voice quieter. "I have kept myself distant since the loss, believing that no one could ever replace what was gone. Yet, your presence, it makes the loneliness easier. You are not like others. You see, you act, you understand, you do not judge. You are human, but your courage is something rare, something meaningful." Aaron did not know what to say. Words felt inadequate, so he simply nodded, letting her feelings pass without interruption. Sometimes he realized presence mattered more than conversation. Over the next few days, Aaron returned to the memory vault under Rhea's guidance. He learned how to stabilize the energy flows, how to monitor the crystals for fluctuations, and how to ensure that the preserved memories remained intact. Each visit revealed more about the depth of Seraphine emotion, the weight of history, and the way the living could care for the departed. Rhea, meanwhile, seemed lighter. The stress of guarding the vault had always been hers alone, but now she shared it. The connection with Aaron allowed her to speak more openly, to express thoughts that had been held inside for decades. She told him about her partner's achievements, their shared dreams, and the quiet evenings they had spent on Earth-like simulations. Aaron listened, fascinated by a life so different from his own, yet similar in its emotional depth. One evening, as the station glided past a distant gas giant, a subtle vibration ran through the vault. Aaron detected an unusual resonance in one of the peripheral crystals. "Commander," he said, pointing at the interface. "This crystal is showing instability." "It could be the surge returning," Rhea approached quickly. "Then we act as before. Focus on rerouting the auxiliary fields. I will maintain resonance alignment." Working together, they adjusted conduits, stabilized energy flows, and synchronized their actions perfectly. The crystal's light returned to calm brilliance. After a long moment, Rhea finally leaned back, her shoulders relaxing. "You humans. You do not always understand the depth of loss," she said quietly, "yet you act with respect, with care. That is what makes you remarkable." Aaron felt a warmth in his chest. "I only do what is right," he replied. "I think helping someone honor their past is as important as any other work we do." "Right." Rhea's eyes softened further. "You are right. You are remarkable." From that night, the memory vault became a place of quiet learning for Aaron and Rhea. It was not just about energy, stabilization, or system maintenance. It became a shared space where trust, respect, and subtle companionship grew. Aaron understood the importance of presence, of action, and of the quiet strength humans could offer. And Rhea began to accept that connection. That someone could help carry even the heaviest burdens without judgment. One evening, after finishing their work, Rhea looked at Aaron. "You have shown me that even in solitude, one can find support. I once believed that grief was a solitary path, but your presence proves that is not true. Companionship, even quiet, even without words, can heal." Aaron nodded. "We do not have to face challenges alone. Whether it is machines, surges, or loss, we can face them together." Rhea smiled faintly, her gaze soft. "Yes, together."
Oh.
In the days that followed, Aaron noticed that Rhea began to spend more time outside her office. She interacted with the crew more openly, offered guidance, and even shared small jokes. The commander, who had once seemed so distant, was gradually becoming a part of the station's life again. And Aaron realized that he had played a role not just as a human engineer, but as someone who helped a being heal through simple presence, action, and understanding by the end of the week. The memory vault was fully stabilized, its energy flowing smoothly through every crystal. The echoes of the past were safe, and Rhea's expression reflected a lightness Aaron had never seen before. She placed her hand on the central crystal, closing her eyes briefly. "Thank you, Aaron," she said softly. "You've done more than stabilize energy. You have reminded me that life, even after loss, continues. That connection matters. That hope exists." Aaron felt a quiet pride. He had not only helped save the vault, but he had also helped save a part of Rhea's spirit as he left the memory vault that night. Walking down the softly lit corridors, he understood something essential about humans and Seraphine alike. Presence, courage, and understanding could bridge worlds. And sometimes, the most important work was not in repairing machines or monitoring systems. It was in showing someone that they were not alone. Aaron's presence had become a steady light, guiding her through grief, reminding her that connection was possible. And for Aaron, each night spent in the memory vault, side by side with the alien commander, strengthened his sense of purpose. He was no longer just a human worker. He was a part of something far greater. He was a witness, a companion, and a source of quiet strength in the vast silence between stars. The calm of Arian Station did not last long. Weeks after Aaron had helped stabilize the memory vault, the station's quiet corridors and glowing observation windows were disrupted by sudden alarms. Red lights flashed across consoles, and a deep, resonating siren filled the station. "Report." Ria's voice cut through the chaos. She moved swiftly to the main control room, her golden eyes scanning the display panels. Aaron followed, heart racing. "Sensors show multiple unauthorized ships approaching," he said. "They are armed and closing in fast." Ria's expression hardened. "Hostile raiders. They seek our technology. Prepare all defense systems. I will coordinate from the control deck." Within minutes, the crew scrambled. Engineers secured power conduits, technicians prepared shields, and pilots rushed to their stations. Aaron moved alongside Ria, assisting with the defense systems, rerouting energy flows, and ensuring that critical systems remained operational. Ria said, her voice steady, despite the tension. "I need you at the core controls. Monitor reactor stability. If they breach the shields, we must prevent a meltdown." Aaron nodded, moving quickly. He had faced power surges and system failures before, but now the stakes were higher. Lives depended on their actions, and Ria's trust weighed on him. The raiders struck suddenly. Energy beams flashed across the station's hull, sending shudders through the corridors. Sparks erupted from damaged panels, and the hum of the station was interrupted by loud bangs and alarms. Aaron worked furiously, stabilizing systems while Ria coordinated defense strategies, her commands precise and authoritative. "Shields at 40%. She shouted. "Divert auxiliary energy to the front barriers." Aaron adjusted the power conduits, watching as the shields regained strength. "Done. They are holding." "For now?" Ria nodded, eyes narrowing. "The main reactor must remain stable. If they reach it, the station could be lost." As the battle continued, a group of raiders managed to board the station through a damaged docking bay. Aaron and Ria moved to intercept them, their movements fluid and synchronized. Aaron had received basic combat training, enough to hold his ground, but Ria's experience and precision made her formidable. Together, they navigated the narrow corridors, evading blasts and disabling raiders with non-lethal force. Suddenly, an explosion rocked the station. A section of the control room collapsed, sending debris flying. Aaron shielded Ria instinctively, pushing her out of harm's way. A sharp pain shot through his arm from the impact, but he ignored it, focusing on stabilizing the nearby systems. "Aaron," Ria called, her voice laced with concern. "Are you hurt?" "I'm fine," he said, gritting his teeth. "We need to focus." The raiders advanced toward the main reactor, their weapons ready. Ria and Aaron raced to intercept them. Using both human tactics and Seraphine precision, they created a barrier of energy fields, slowing the intruders. Aaron coordinated with the station's automated defenses, while Ria moved gracefully, disarming attackers and rerouting their path away from critical areas. "You are remarkable," Ria said briefly as they fought side by side. "Even in danger, your focus never falters." Aaron glanced at her. "I learned from the best," he replied, activating another energy shield. The battle reached a critical point. One raider managed to breach the core chamber, attempting to destabilize the reactor. Aaron reacted immediately, placing himself between the attacker and the reactor. A surge of energy from the intruder's weapons struck his suit, sending him flying backward. Pain surged through his body, but he managed to activate an emergency field that contained the energy blast, protecting the reactor from damage. Ria's eyes widened with shock. She rushed to his side, helping him to stand. "Aaron, you risked everything." "I had to," he said, determined. "If the reactor fails, everyone dies." Together, they finished securing the core. Aaron stabilized the last conduit while Ria rerouted auxiliary energy to the shields, forcing the raiders to retreat. The remaining attackers withdrew, their ships retreating into space. The alarm silenced, leaving the station in an eerie quiet. Ria leaned against the console, breathing heavily. Aaron could see the relief in her eyes, but also something deeper: gratitude and trust. "You saved the station," she said quietly. "And perhaps more than the station?" Aaron shook his head. "We saved it together. I would not be here without your guidance." Ria's expression softened. You have shown me something important, Aaron. In the moments of crisis, courage matters more than strategy. In humanity, your courage is extraordinary. It is not just action, it is heart. It is presence. Aaron felt a warmth he had not felt before. The bond between them had grown stronger in the face of danger, solidified by trust and shared responsibility. Over the following days, the station underwent repairs. The raiders had caused significant damage, but the crew, inspired by Aaron and Ria's example, tirelessly to restore the systems. Aaron continued his engineering work, often side by side with Ria, who now showed a subtle vulnerability. She spoke more openly about the fear she had felt during the attack, admitting that she had doubted whether she could protect the station alone. "You were by my side," she said quietly, "and that changed everything. I realized that even in leadership, I do not have to bear everything alone." Aaron smiled. "That is what presence is for. We face challenges together." Ria nodded, her golden eyes reflecting the faint glow of the repaired station lights. "Yes, together." The attack had not only tested their skills, but also their bond. The crew looked to Aaron and Ria as symbols of courage and trust, proof that even in the vastness of space, human determination and compassion could make a difference. One evening, after the last repairs were completed, Ria invited Aaron to the observation deck. The stars outside stretched endlessly, calm and silent, stark contrast to the chaos of the past days. "You acted with bravery and care," she said softly. "I have seen many Seraphine fight with skill, but your courage, it is different. It is not just training, it is heart. That is what makes humanity remarkable." Aaron looked at her, understanding her meaning. "I only did what was necessary. But being here with you, seeing everything you do, it makes me want to give my best." Ria smiled faintly. "You remind me of hope, that even after loss and fear, life continues. That connection matters, and that courage can come from the most unexpected places." Aaron felt a deep sense of purpose. The battle had not only been about defending the station, it had been a lesson in trust, teamwork, and human potential. For the first time, he realized that the station, the crew, and even Ria herself had been changed by his presence. Humanity's spirit had made a mark, small yet undeniable, in the heart of an alien world. As he walked back to his quarters, Aaron reflected on the events. The attack had tested everything he knew about engineering, strategy, and courage. Yet it had also shown him something more profound, that human presence. Care and bravery could inspire trust, heal wounds, and make even the most distant stars feel connected. Ria had begun to rely on him, not only for technical skill, but for calm in chaos, for courage in danger, and for companionship when fear threatened to take over. The bond between them had grown beyond professional respect. It was trust, understanding, and mutual support. The station settled into calm once more, its systems restored, and defenses reinforced. But Aaron knew that the memory of the attack and the lessons learned would remain. Courage, he realized, was not just about facing enemies, it was about being present for others, about stepping into uncertainty with heart and determination. And Ria, once distant and burdened by grief, had found in him a quiet strength she had not known she needed. Together, it not only saved the station, but had proven that humanity's courage and heart could stand beside alien skill and wisdom, shining even among the stars. After the attack on Virion Station, the once quiet corridors hummed with renewed energy. Systems had been repaired, drones recalibrated, and the memory vault secured. Yet the most significant change was not mechanical, it was personal. Commander Ria moved through the station differently now. There was a lightness in her steps, a subtle warmth in her interactions, and a quiet acknowledgement of the human engineer who had stood beside her through peril. Aaron noticed it immediately. Where once Ria had been distant, keeping her thoughts carefully guarded, now she sought his input regularly. She invited him to planning sessions, not just as a technician, but as a trusted advisor. Her trust in him had grown from respect for his skill to appreciation for his presence. One morning, Era approached Aaron in the engineering bay. Her expression was calm, but her golden eyes carried a hint of emotion that was unusual for her. "Aaron," she began, "you have proven yourself in ways few could, not only in skill, but in courage and patience. I would like you to remain here, not merely as an engineer, but as a partner in maintaining the station and its mission." Aaron blinked, surprised. I am honored, Commander. I will continue to do my best," Rhea nodded. "You have already done more than expected. And now, I wish to spend more time working together, not because of necessity, but because your presence is valuable." Those words struck Aaron deeply. He realized that the overtime he had once dreaded had transformed into shared purpose, trust, and quiet companionship. He no longer felt alone in the vast station, nor did Rhea. Days passed filled with planning and rebuilding. The station's crew, inspired by Aaron and Rhea's example, worked with renewed determination. Morale was higher than ever. The bond between human and Seraphine became a symbol of cooperation and understanding. One evening, as Aaron was monitoring the life support systems, Rhea approached him with a small device in hand. "This is a new project," she explained. "I wish to combine human and Seraphine technology for exploration. I would like you to lead the technical design." Arun's eyes lit up. "I'd be glad to, Commander. Combining our technologies could advance exploration further than ever before." Rhea smiled faintly. "Yes, and it will be a symbol proof that collaboration, trust, and presence can achieve great things." As they worked together on the project, their companionship continued to grow. They shared strategies, designed new systems, and even discussed ideas about diplomacy and peace. Aaron learned more about Seraphine history, culture, and values, while Rhea gained insight into human creativity, adaptability, and courage. In quiet moments, they would watch the stars together. The observation deck became a favorite place for both. Rhea shared stories of her past, not just of loss, but of achievements, dreams, and the bond she had shared with her late partner. Aaron listened, offering comfort, and occasionally, a smile or a word that reminded her of hope. "You have changed this station," Rhea said one night, as they gazed at a distant nebula. "Not with machines or systems, but with your presence. You remind me that life continues, that loss does not mean isolation, and that courage can shine even in darkness." Arun looked at her, understanding the depth of her words. "We make each other stronger. That is what matters." Rhea nodded. "Yes, together we make each other stronger." Weeks turned into months. The station became more than a research and defense hub. It became a place where humans and Seraphine collaborated seamlessly. The technology developed under Aaron and Rhea's guidance advanced exploration capabilities, improved life support systems, and enhanced defense mechanisms. More importantly, the station had become a symbol of hope and cooperation for nearby colonies and allied species. Through it all, Aaron and Rhea remained close. Their relationship was professional, yet personal in its trust and understanding. The commander, who had once been a widow, guarding her grief quietly, now smiled more often, trusted openly, and shared her thoughts with him freely. Aaron realized that he had become indispensable not because of his skills alone, but because of the presence, courage, and empathy he brought to every task. One day, after completing a successful test of the new exploration module, Rhea turned to him. "You have taught me something important," she said softly. "Even after loss, even after fear, life continues. Connection, trust, and presence matter more than anything else." Aaron smiled. "And you have taught me that leadership is not just about decisions or authority. It is about caring for others, guiding them, and valuing their presence." Rhea's golden eyes glimmered with emotion. "Yes, and now we face the future together. As partners in duty and in purpose, you will always be by my side, Aaron." For Aaron, those words felt like the culmination of everything he had experienced on Viren Station. From the long overtime nights to the battles, from stabilizing the memory vault to defending the station against raiders, every moment had led to this understanding that presence, courage, and empathy could bridge species, heal grief, and create lasting bonds. The station continued its operations smoothly. Systems ran efficiently, drones patrolled the outer decks, and new research projects were underway. Yet through it all, the human engineer and the Seraphine commander maintained their quiet companionship. They shared successes, solved challenges, and faced dangers together, their bond becoming a model for the entire crew. One evening, as the twin suns of a nearby system set beyond the observation deck, Aaron and Rhea stood side by side, watching the colors shift across the sky. The hum of the station was calm, peaceful, yet alive with energy. "Do you ever miss being alone?" Aaron asked gently. Rhea shook her head. "No, not anymore. Presence matters. Companionship matters. And having someone by my side has reminded me that life is still full of possibilities." Aaron smiled. "I feel the same way. We face challenges together, and it makes every success, every problem, every quiet moment more meaningful." Rhea looked at him, her golden eyes reflecting the twin suns. Yes, together, always. From that day forward, the station thrived. Human and Seraphine technologies merged seamlessly. New alliances were formed. Explorations into distant systems expanded. And through it all, Aaron remained by Rhea's side, not as a subordinate, but as a partner, a trusted companion, and a reminder of the courage, empathy, and heart that humanity could offer. The crew admired the bond between the human and the commander. It became a story passed along to new recruits, a lesson in courage, trust, and cooperation. Aaron's actions, presence, and heart had proven that humanity could shine among the stars, not through dominance, but through courage, understanding, and unwavering support. Years passed. Varian Station grew into a hub of exploration and diplomacy, yet the quiet moments between Aaron and Rhea remained unchanged. Even in the midst of activity, repairs, and missions, they would share small conversations, watch the stars, and quietly reflect on the journey that had brought them together. "You have changed my life," Rhea said one evening, looking at the distant galaxy through the observation deck, not through orders, not through technology, but through presence, courage, and understanding. "You have reminded me of hope." Aaron looked at her, feeling the same gratitude. "And you have taught me that leadership, trust, and connection are stronger than any obstacle. Together, we can face anything." Rhea nodded, her expression soft and full of quiet pride. Yes, together, always by each other's side. The station continued its orbit, a beacon of cooperation, courage, and hope among the stars. Humans and Seraphine worked together, technology advanced, and connections flourished. But at the heart of it all, Aaron remained by Rhea's side, a constant presence, a source of strength, and a reminder that even in the vastness of space, compassion, courage, and trust could create lasting bonds. And so, Vian Station thrived not just because of systems, defenses, or technology, but because of the quiet, unwavering presence of a human engineer and the alien commander who had learned that even in loss, life could continue, hope could flourish, and connection could endure. Together, they faced the future, always side by side, a human and a Seraphine, proving that courage, heart, and presence were universal forces that could change worlds.